Maryland's farms grow more than food. They grow community, tradition, and a future worth protecting. But our farmers face rising costs, land loss, and policy threats every year. Maryland Farm Bureau fights back, securing tax relief, protecting farmland, and being a steadfast voice for our hardworking farmers. And anyone can join. You don't have to farm to stand with the people who do. Together, let's create Maryland's best farm future.
This is Old Line Farmer Radio, a Maryland Farm Bureau production, helping you achieve your best farm future.
Good afternoon, Old Line Farmer Radio. My name is Kendall Abrazizi, Operations Coordinator from Maryland Farm Bureau, and I have a very special guest here with me today. I'd like to introduce Mrs. Kathy Wojcik, Ag Teacher here in Howard County. Thank you for being on the podcast today, Kathy.
Sure, I'm glad to be here.
Just to get us started, I know that Howard County has one ag program, and you just happen to lead that. Can you tell us a little bit about what led you to this position and how it is teaching in a program like this?
Sure. So in 2018 is when they reopened the program here. We had one earlier, and through some changes in CTE and things that the program changed. But I have been a Carroll County teacher for many years prior. Before coming here, I was an ag teacher for 15 years, and then I taught biomedical science for a few years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When this position became open, I was very excited to put in my application, and I was fortunate enough to be chosen for the position.
Oh, that's awesome. What kind of classes are you teaching here in the ag program?
Sure. So I teach some basic ag classes. So I teach an introduction to AF&R, ag, food, natural resources. And then we do some plant science, and we have a greenhouse here, so that's very active in the springtime with our plant sales. And I also do some animal science and a little bit of veterinary science. So I'm a CASE certified teacher.
Okay.
So I follow all the pathways that CASE, I've been certified in.
Okay, awesome. And for our listeners who may not understand, could you kind of share a little bit more about how CASE is relevant in the ag education world? Sure.
So CASE originally is around 2010, I guess, when I first got into the CASE curriculum. It's very project-based. It lets the teacher become more of the facilitator, and the students are very hands-on and involved in all of their work. So it is very deep in science, but they're getting the basics of soil science and plant science and animal science, and they're developing projects and research topics within those core areas.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I know that this is considered a tech school, is that right?
That's correct.
So how does that work with getting students into the different programs?
Yeah, so we have many different academies here, and we're pulling from 13 different high schools in Howard County. Wow. And we're still, in my mind, I think we're still growing and developing our Ag Academy here. So we do info nights where the community can come in. We're trying to get out into the schools and let the guidance counselors and the students know at those schools that there is an agriculture academy here and what it entails. So when the students come, what are they getting into? It's kind of cool that I have all these students coming from different high schools, and they're coming here with similar interests. So they all want to be here, they choose to come here, but sometimes it can be difficult getting the word out, what we're really doing here, and why might a student choose to come here to take a course, not only in my academy, but any of the academies here.
Do you find that you have a harder time pushing certain subjects versus others?
Well, I find, for me personally, in my academy, yes, I'll have to say that, just because we have people back at the home schools that don't really understand what's happening here. Mm-hmm. So when you see an ag academy, they often think, oh, that's about farming. Mm-hmm. I don't think I have any students, at Hammond High School. I shouldn't call out the school, but and I'm not picking on schools, but just that one came to mind. I don't have any kids here that want to be farmers, so yeah, no, it wouldn't be interest to any of them, where in fact should be the complete opposite, where everybody is a stakeholder in agriculture, and they all should have some kind of background about how their food's grown, where it's coming from, and things like that. And But it can be problematic sometimes, and I think the more that we get out there, the more my students are out there in the community, they're going to different schools and talking about the program, then the better off we'll be here.
Yeah, I love that you touched on the kind of importance of ag education and, educating not only students, but I think we hear it across the entire ag industry, and definitely within my role as Farm Bureau, I hear a lot of, we need to educate the consumers. It's consumer education and, where does my food come from, things like that. And I think you hit on a really heavy point that students need to know it, but so do the adults that are helping to guide those students in the decisions that they're making. Definitely very important. Let's pivot a little bit, because you also touched on community involvement in FFA, and I kind of want to pivot from ag education and talk a little bit about your FFA chapter.
Sure.
Can you share some of the things that your FFA chapter is doing, or your activities, things like that?
Sure. So, we jump in the school year in August. We're both feet on the ground and we're running. Currently, we have our info night coming up next week, where I have students coming. They're going to set up the classroom with all different stations. They'll be active in that. We have our Region 3 Leadership Conference next Wednesday at the Howard County Fairgrounds, where I have students going over there for the day, meeting with other students, FFA members in our region, and going through some leadership stations. We're going to kick off a sock fundraiser. We're always fundraising. So we can go on things and go on trips like the regional leadership and to our state convention and down to Annapolis for our legislative day, as well as national convention, where we just returned from last week. So fundraisers are big. We're also going to be doing our holiday arrangement fundraiser. Hopefully we're going to get out into Harris Teeter. They've just asked for a partnership with FFA. So I hope to get out to the Ellicott City store here soon and talk to the consumers and our community members about not only what we do in the classroom and our FFA members, but also getting back to that, where your food comes from. So lots of things going on as we're preparing for CDEs and LDEs in the spring.
That's awesome. I love that. You guys have certainly a very busy year. And within your busy year, you had the chance to be nominated for a very prestigious award. We were so happy to congratulate and award you with the Ag Educator of the Year award in the Golden Owl program. Can you kind of share a little bit about what this award means to you?
Wow. So, I was actually very surprised. It's humbling to be selected as that award winner, because I think any ag teacher in the state, any one of us could have been that winner up there that day. So it's very cool and appreciative to know that I was selected. Sometimes you just need that pat on the back to say, you're doing a good job. We see what you're doing. But to see other people, recognize me for those things, because of course, as you know, it was a nomination process. So some people nominated me. I really didn't apply for that. So, that's very important. That was a big win for me, and I appreciate all the support that I've had to get to that point, starting with my students.
Yeah, to share with some of our listeners who may not be as familiar with the Golden Owl program, this program was started by Nationwide within Ohio and kind of spread from there. So we were lucky enough last year to kind of kick off our inaugural year in partnership with Nationwide, Maryland FFA, and then Maryland Farm Bureau. So this will be our second year around, and I will say I love that it is a nomination process. My ag teacher is obviously very near and dear to my heart. I credit my job now to her. So I think it's so important, and it means so much to get that recognition and to kind of hear those thoughts and see some of those nominations. I know we're slowly running out of time here today, and as we wrap up, the one thing that I did want to touch on was I skimmed through some of your nominations, and I saw a lot of nice memories and thoughts from students, faculty, staff, and community members. You had a lot. Do you have any favorite memories as a teacher that you would want to share?
I don't know if I have one particularly. I know National Convention is always an exciting one, and the first year here in 2019 was the first group that I took out to National Convention, and I had a very well-prepared livestock judging team go out, and I had one of those students win third in the nation.
That's incredible.
So that was very cool. I don't know if I can take credit for her winning that, but being there with her and seeing her excitement and the whole team. So it's very cool to see that. And we had an awesome year also back at state convention in June with the awards that we won and the hard work that those kids put into that, and just to see all of their hard labor come to, to that final stage, and to see that how happy they were, and the excitement and the accomplishment and the confidence that they built. That's what I like seeing. I like seeing those student successes.
Yeah, I'm sure sharing in that joy and that passion can be very emotional and overwhelming.
Yeah.
Now, as part of the program, you were able to get a little bit of financial support as well from some of your winnings. Are you planning on doing anything with that award?
It's kind of just been sitting there for right now. I'm going to accompany, I'll say, a family member on a trip this winter out of the country. So I am, and I've kind of tucked that away for that. I'm going to be going to Austria in a few weeks.
Oh, actually, that's so exciting.
During the Christmas market time. So
I love that.
So that's something I've never done for myself, and that's what I just tucked that away, just to do something nice for myself and not be worried about, I don't have the money to spend for this.
Yeah, I love that. A good vacation never hurts,
nice
for
vacation.
sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So, Kathy, we talked a lot about your students and some of the memories that you've seen and that you've experienced over your years as a teacher. What is your why? What's your purpose for kind of waking up and doing this every morning?
Good question. So I grew up on a small farm, and it's something that I love to do. And my kids experience the same experiences that I did, grow up on a farm. But as I get to these students, and I see the backgrounds that they're coming from, and I have to go back to that excitement that they get when they have that aha moment. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize, this is how artificial insemination, what the process was. Or I didn't know that I could grow my own tomatoes at home in just a small raised bed. So to see those excitements and to see those students develop and learn and go out in the community and do such amazing work was what they've learned here, or just small pieces of that. That's what keeps me going every day. It's all driven by the students.
Did you always know that you wanted to be a teacher?
I think at some point I did. When I graduated high school, I thought I wanted to be a nurse. And I did that for schooling for a couple of years, and I quickly transferred to University of Maryland College Park and finished up there in an animal science program, but really it all evolved back to the classroom.
I love that. And to any students who are listening, would you give them any sort of advice if they were pursuing the path of education or ag education?
Sure. Find a good mentor. Find somebody that you can learn from, that can provide you a path or support, and that will take you a long way.
Everyone needs a good mentor sometimes.
Yes.
So you've been teaching for quite some time now. Are there any students that kind of stand out for their story, or that you feel that you may have especially impacted as they go on in the ag industry or in Maryland?
I hope that I have impacted most, if not all of them. I have one that just recently, she has moved to North Carolina and opened up her own vet clinic. So
that's awesome.
That's very cool that she's done that. Others are all over the country doing what they love, whether it's working for a State Farm Bureau Association or a breed association. I have to plug in my own son here. He left from a family farm and went to school out in Illinois, and he's now full-time producing food and fiber for our country and our world. So that's pretty cool.
Which is definitely a very important job.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're very proud of all your students.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Well, as we wrap up today, are there any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners?
No, I just want to thank you, Farm Bureau, Nationwide, Maryland FFA, for supporting all of us, for the ag teachers and the FFA members, and for taking on this Golden Owl Award, because it's an amazing program, and it's awesome to see teachers highlighted.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm definitely in awe of all of your hard work with your students, and congratulate you on the award.
Thank you.
Now, Maryland Farm Bureau, don't forget the deadline for this award has been extended to Friday, November 7th. So get your nominations in today for an ag teacher in your area.